Okay, we'll call the meeting order for the Epsom County Board of Commissioners for Tuesday, January the 9th. If we would at this time, please rise for our invocation. Pastor, once again, we appreciate you coming and taking care of business for us tonight. It's good to have the professionals here.
Heavenly Father, once again, we are so thankful for this day you've given us. We thank you for your protection throughout this day, Lord. As we've had the severe weather come through our area, we thank you for your protection. We just pray, God, that you will bless this group tonight, Lord, as we've come together to make decisions for our community and our county. And we just pray, Lord, that the decisions we know that we make today will affect our tomorrows. And we just pray, God, that the decisions that's made tonight will be for the best for our community, for us that's living here, Lord. We're just so thankful that you continue to bless us, and we are so thankful for your blessings. We just ask, God, for your leadership in this meeting tonight. In the name of Jesus, we pray. Amen.
Thank you. If you join me in the pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Thank you. All right, gentlemen, before we get into tonight's agenda further, I'd like to propose a change to tonight's agenda. I'd like to add an item for under new business, election of the vice chair for the Board of Commissioners. We didn't do that yet, did we? We did that. My bad, I should have caught that. And then it also pleases the board, I'd like to add an executive session at the end of new business to go in and discuss a potential real estate matter. So could I have a motion on those proposed revisions?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, let's go. All in favor? It's okay, it's unanimous. Okay. Why that's doing that. All right. Next is public comments, and so I have 3. So for public comments, as I call your name, if you would please come up, take to either side of the podium here, state your name and your address for the record, and you have 5 minutes. So, so with that, Mr. Pierce.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Jason Pierce. I'm an Upton County resident with concerns about the fairness and accuracy of our voting system. I'm here because I want to ensure that you can verify that my votes are counted as they are cast, and to empower you with the courage and knowledge to do so. I'm one of thousands of Georgia voters, including many here in the county, who no longer trust the voting on Dominion's electronic voting system because it is inaccurate, unsecure, illegal, unverifiable to the voter, and an unnecessary financial burden on the county. This system never produced an accurate result for the Coffee County, Georgia elections in 2020, and it declared the wrong winners in the 2022 DeKalb District 2 Commissioner's race, of which would not have been discovered if it were not for an audit of that race. The recently unsealed Halberman security analysis found that the system was not designed, engineered, nor tested properly for election security and cannot be retrofitted or patched for security. The Secretary of State's rebuttal to this analysis, this report, has been ridiculed by 29 experts as dangerous and ridiculous. But nevertheless, he continues conducting secretly counted elections with sealed ballots for his own unverifiable primary. Our voting system is unverifiable to the voters because it accumulates their selection from a QR code. This QR code is not readable by the voter, but only readable by Dominion's proprietary software. I brought a little visual aid. So when you cast your vote on the ballot marking device, which is the touchscreen system, you get a paper printout. That's not a ballot. The ballot is digital. You get a printout, it's called an election summary. It looks something like this. It'll have in writing on the top your selection, and then a QR code at the bottom, probably a little smaller in the corner. This is what they're saying that the voter gets to verify his choices by, which is true. But once this is fed into the black box or the tabulator to count vote, it's only counted using this. This has nothing to do with it after that point. Judge Amy Totenberg, the U.S. District Court judge, ruled that our voting system's unverifiability violates 2 Georgia laws because of this. However, the official code of Georgia 212334 and 3366 are overriding statutes to give the county the authority over the conduct of its elections. The governor, secretary of state, and the state election board have all admitted in court that the counties have that authority. So the choice is yours. You can conduct the next election on secure, hand-marked paper ballots, hand-counted at the precinct level on election day, not election month, with full audits and publicly available ballots, not sealed, where you can't look at them. Or we can continue to conduct the elections on an illegal, unverifiable, inaccurate, unsecure voting system that is an extreme financial burden to the county taxpayers and has zero transparency. Your responsibility is to protect the votes of county residents, not to support the agenda of a voting system vendor and the Secretary of State who have disenfranchised all of us with such a corrupt system. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I'm sorry. Healy?
Yes.
Ms. Healy?
Yep.
How are you?
Hey. My name is Kathy Healy. I'm a United States Air Force veteran. We the people no longer have faith in our elections. Our election process needs to be decentralized. Unreadable QR code is unlawful. Georgia Code 21-2-300 Parts A2 mandates that when voting with electronic ballot markers, that they produce paper ballots marked with the elector's choice in a format readable by the elector. Current electronic voting system in Georgia violates this Georgia statute by utilizing an unencrypted, humanly unverifiable QR code that negates the voter's right to know exactly how their vote is tabulated. The electronic voting machines here in Georgia continue to run on original software suite approved by the Election Assistance Commission, EAC, in 2019. Since that time, 4 software upgrades addressing security vulnerabilities have been approved by the EAC, none of which have been implemented to date. Further, the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, CISA, CISA recommended upgrading the Dominion software in June of 2022, which also didn't happen. Failure to implement these approved and recommended software updates and correct vulnerabilities is ongoing. I would like to define municipality. Dictionary.com defines municipality as municipality, a city, town, or other district possessing corporate existence and usually its own local government. Black's Law Dictionary includes, in that definition, a body of officers taken collectively. Per Georgia Code 21-2-323, municipalities, local government, local body of officers, are to provide voting machines in good working order. As such, our local government election superintendent, board of registrars, board of commissioners may be complicit of wrongdoing by certifying future elections that lack appropriate cybersecurity updates. Another vulnerability with the voting machines was discovered in Williamson County, Tennessee. where investigators found multiple instances of an error called a QR code signature mismatch with a warning message of ballot format or ID is unrecognizable. Investigators noticed that the machines counted the votes properly until the error was triggered. After the error was triggered, the current ballot in the machine was not counted, and every ballot after the error was triggered was not counted until the machine was reset. The Williamson, Tennessee error has been found in 64 out of 66 investigated counties here in Georgia. This is unacceptable. That is 97% of counties investigated right here in Georgia. This makes the odds of this error getting triggered right here in Upson County very likely. Georgia Code 21-2-334 states, if for any reason at any primary or election, the use of voting machines wholly or in part is not practicable, in other words, is not up to snuff, the superintendent may arrange to have the voting for such candidates or offices by paper ballots. As elected Upson officials, you have legal authority. I have cited multiple Georgia codes and a lawful obligation per your oath of office to use paper ballots and hand count those ballots. Bernard & Johnson Law Firm in Atlanta, which I have given you, wrote a legal opinion on this matter, echoing my comments here today, citing multiple Georgia codes as I have done. The remedy for issues I have cited, plus others I don't have time to discuss, is for the voters of Upson County to cast their votes with security-grade paper ballots, hand-counted at each precinct, including absentee ballots on the day of election starting at 7 a.m. I propose that the votes be counted in batches of 50, with 2 sets of tabulators per vote, 1 to count and record each vote, and the second pair of tabulators workers to verify the accuracy of each vote ballot tabulation. This can be done efficiently, accurately, and quickly. I accept your oath of office. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, Ms. Kent?
I'm Melissa Keenan. I live at 4543 Crest Highway in Thompson, Georgia. In a democratic republic, the ultimate source of political authority is the people. Elected officials derive their power from the consent and the support of the people, and they are accountable to the citizens for their actions. While citizens delegate certain powers to their elected representatives, the citizens retain the ultimate power to influence the direction of the government through participation in elections and in the democratic process. The idea is to strike a balance between representative governance and the direct involvement of the citizens in the decision-making process. I am calling out to my fellow citizens of this community to start participating. I am positive we all have similar concerns and can find common ground to support one another. This is our community. We need to write letters, ask questions, show up to meetings, and be part of the decision-making process for our community. Having an open dialogue with our representatives, can be productive if everyone can be civil, respecting each person of this community, as we each have equal right to be heard and our concerns to be addressed. In the past, the transition to written and recorded votes was driven by a desire for transparency, accuracy, and fairness. Obviously, that is still our desire today, as the other speakers here demonstrated by presenting a multitude of legitimate facts regarding our current election technology. We would like to go back to simple, secure, hand-marked paper ballots and one-day voting. Our representatives did not give us, the citizens, a voice when they changed our election process, extending days to vote, creating drop boxes, manipulating software that distorts our voter rolls, bringing in these unreliable voting machines, which were brought in under the guise of a forced test run. Technology is used for efficiency. We need accuracy in our election process. I believe it is past time that the citizens are given a voice in our election process as well as in our community affairs. I am now asking the commissioners to create a workable civil engagement for citizens of this community. The current setup of this meeting does not allow for civil engagement. Citizens are told to bring their questions to your office for closed-door meetings. We don't need closed-door meetings. We all live in this community together. We all need to solve our community issues together. I am requesting that a Q&A form be added to your meeting agendas for future meetings, or I propose we organize monthly town hall meetings to facilitate civil conversations with all representatives within our community. And I'm saying this could be staggered. You could do, for instance, by the, however you call separated out, and I forget the word.
Districts.
Districts, thank you. And one thing I would like to just point out, since I stopped reading, is I could only find yours, Mr. Allen, and yours, Mr. Waller, emails, and neither one of you are my district. So how am I supposed to get a hold of the person in my district if I can't even email them? I'm sorry, not everybody can do it during business hours or have time to take time, on their lunch break to call. So I'm wanting to push that I feel like this community needs to be brought together. It's both your all's obligation to do so and us citizens to also participate. Do we not agree on that? See, as that. By embracing civil engagement, we strengthen the foundation of our community. We reaffirm the commitment to serving the best interests of our community. Thank you for giving me a moment to be heard. I look forward to participating in these future civil engagements and watching this community pull itself together.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, appreciate y'all. All right. Gentlemen, next on the agenda is the consent agenda. For your consideration for tonight's consent is the approval of the December 6th work session minutes, approval of the December 12th regular meeting minutes, approval of the December 29th special call meeting minutes, and approval of the 2024 qualifying fees for local candidates. Is there a motion on tonight's consent? I have a motion to adopt and approve. Is there a second? Motion made and seconded. Hearing no discussion. Ms. Jones?
Commissioner Wilder?
Yes.
Commissioner Watson?
Yes.
Commissioner Ellington?
Yes.
Chairman Allen?
Yes. Okay, new business is discussion and approval of the 2024 local maintenance and improvement grant. So, Jason?
Mr. Chairman, let me, if you don't mind, let me take just a minute to explain how I've got it on your agenda, and then if the board so chooses, you can potentially adopt it the way I've proposed it or pare it back. But essentially, after a couple of meetings with our road superintendent and our engineer, and based on comments and individual meetings with commissioners, whether that be at the work session or individually, we put what we feel is a solid list of roads that would be amenable to all 5 members of the board, which totaled 10 projects and at an estimated cost of $3.795. So the only thing we have to submit per the grant requirements that are enough projects so that we can obtain our money from the state, which is essentially $672,000 with a 30% match, which takes a project value up to about $875,000. But knowing that we've got a really hefty agenda coming up for your retreat, my thought is that I could have the board adopt what seemed to be a consensus of projects now, which would total about 3.7, and that we could spend the rest of our time at the retreat figuring out how do we round up to what our total number will be, which you essentially can't, or potentially won't be in excess of $9 million, which is what the voters approved on the bond issuance. And I think each individual list is in your folder. I can go over them if you like, or if you just want to take a minute to look, or if you have any concerns or questions. If I can't answer them, our road superintendent is in attendance and he would be able to answer. But essentially our proposal is to go ahead and adopt these 10 projects as part of the larger later this year. We'll submit this as our grant application to go ahead and get our funding from the state, and then we would look at projects in addition to this to round up to what will roughly be our $9 million debt issuance for resurfacing and other projects. Mr. Chairman, did that make sense?
I understand.
Okay.
What is the deadline for submitting?
At let's see, January 31. So we could essentially take one of these projects and submit it and still be in compliance. So we could pare it down to one that was just, use one as an example. Just the Adams Ferry Pobitty to the end of the pavement would just about get it. So you could add that in one other one, and I could submit that. Actually, the Lawrence Road, the proposed Lawrence Road project would easily cover it. So I could, if you wanted the opportunity to discuss these further, I could submit just the Lawrence Road alone, and we would still meet the grant requirement.
Gentlemen, I mean, so you've heard that. Any comments on Jason's two options?
I like to make a motion that we accept it, just put in Lawrence Road as the one option, and then he can kind of go from there to submit, so we can be sure to get the funding.
Okay, so I have a motion. Is there a second on the motion?
I'll second.
So I have a motion made and seconded to authorize county managers to submit Lawrence Road as our 2024 LMIG project. Is there any discussion? I'll just say I can appreciate that. I agree. I think there's some stuff on here that we can talk about. But before I do that, I have a motion on the table. So is hearing no other discussion on that motion. Ms. Jones?
Commissioner Wilder?
Yes.
Commissioner Watson?
Yes.
Commissioner Ellington?
Yes.
Chairman Allen?
Yes. So before we get off road paving for 2024, I mean, I appreciate this, and I think this is just a portion of that we had worked. So were all these part of the big one that we were putting together towards the end of last year?
Yes, a lot of them were.
So these are okay. So these were all included in part of that bigger one. I personally would like us to find. I mean, there's roads out there we know that are logging roads, and does it really? Are we going to put asphalt, leveling and asphalt on some of these logging roads that I mean, that's what's on here, and I'd like to see another option. I mean, about 2 weeks ago, we rode down one of these roads, and it's not bad. It's not an asphalt road, and we can talk about it. Well, I'll tell you, it was Adams Ferry Road. I mean, it's not great, but in my opinion, just having traveled it, it's okay. I just don't know that it needs to be blacktop asphalt. Is there another option out there? And we've been talking about this for some time about, chip seal, other things. I mean, do we have to go and build up a base? I don't know. I'd like if that's the only option, then come tell me that's what it is, and this is what the cost is going to be per mile, and so be it. We'll decide from there. But I just like to think that there's some other options for some of those roads that don't necessarily need to be blacktop asphalt, because it's not going to stay there. We put some of these now 90,000 pounds of logs on the back of a truck on a brand new asphalt road.
And then that particular road, and I'll ask James this, because he gives them the routing on those things. I mean, that particular road, is there ever not some type of logging going on down there?
On Adams Ferry.
Right.
Well, off Adams Ferry, Rolling, that one.
Adams Ferry, Rolling.
It's a lot of loggings off the Rolling Road, which is using, only on that end of Rolling Road, using Adams Ferry, which is using Pobit.
Right.
Which, of course, y'all know the resurfaced it. But I mean, it's logging out in the county.
So and it kind of on the same topic, but so if they're logging on Rolling, and they're on the other end of Rolling, they have a choice to go Adams Ferry
Now, they have
to
go
Pobit.
near state route. If they on the other end, they're gonna go 36. But if they're on the Adams Ferry end, closest to that, they're gonna come
So closest state route from anywhere on Rolling Road to me would seem like it'd be 36 instead
It
of going.
could be, but I mean, it depends on where they're hauling and, you know, we can set the route, but depends on condition of the road. You know, if it's a lot of rain, they can't travel 3 or 4 miles of dirt road, you know, and then of course we redid Rolling Road. Y'all aware of that, so,
And Pobie.
and probably,
And now we're talking Adams Road.
yeah.
And now we're putting heavier trucks on them.
Mhm.
So anyway, that I think, is there anything else that we need to kind of give them? I mean, that's what's in my mind on this stuff when we're looking at some of these roads. I mean,
These roads, they need attention like Adams Ferry. It was done in 1993, and that's what's down there, the original. It was made-
and what is that road? It's tar and rock.
It's, surface treatment, which is
Surface
tar and
treatment.
rock, yes.
Yeah, there's no base. It was just,
It was base hauled in there, and at the time it was mountain soil, which was when we could still use mountain soil as base. So, then
So-
you got UCBOC.
so our challenge is to our engineer and to y'all is give us another option. I mean, you know, Willis Road, surface treatment, it's a nice road.
I mean, I'm not against surface treatment. I mean, these are just roads that need attention.
I
Because if you've been down there, you see, I mean,
And I know after this rain we just had, it's worse.
and
So, okay. All right. But I mean, when we did surface treatment, even putting that asphalt base down, we did it for about, what was it, about a third of the cost of
I'm sure we leveled everything and then came back to surface treatment.
okay.
But all these roads just about on that list are surface treatment. If they
Yeah.
surface treatment, they had original. We quit surface treatment in 93, 94.
Yeah. That it?
Yes, sir. Yeah, no, I just wanted to put it out there as an option.
Good option.
But this easily meets the requirements. All I have to do, and just remind the clerk, I need to revise the cover letter, and I need to remove those other projects. It would just take me a few minutes, so what's in the packet, we need to revise before it's.
And I would be remiss if I didn't say this again, is, you know, I think one of the things that we've talked about quite a bit has been, you know, looking at pavement preservation. Some of the roads that we've done, say in the last 5 or 6 years, or may not have gotten to, but they were still good roads that maybe with just some crack seal and some overlay, you know, we could extend the life of them. And, you know, so as part of this T-Splosh that just passed, and I'm just one, I'd like to see some options, a portion of that dedicated to pavement preservation on some of these roads. You know, anyway, Jeff Davis is showing some significant age because of the amount of traffic and probably some, well, not probably, we know some commercial truck traffic that's on it. And, you know, I mean, how long are we going to let that go before we do something on it, knowing that bridge is probably, you know, if we're going to wait and finish the bridge and then do it, I think the road will be in pretty bad shape if we don't go at least put something on it.
And my understanding, the bridge has been awarded, 10 Mile Creek Bridge.
I think it was close to that. I mean, and
They
so,
announced it on the radio.
so notice to proceed and all that, but I mean, we're still talking a little bit. So,
Some
all right.
might be doing Baker Brick on that, because it's telling the tale on the other half.
Yeah, you know, we spend a lot of money on these roads and we need to, you know, the number that I calculated it earlier today, not counting the roads that we paved last year. How many miles of roads did we pave last year? Do you remember off the top of your head? We didn't do much, did we? Yeah, well, we did.
Well, I know we did, 12 miles.
Okay, so we're probably 426 miles, centerline miles of paved roads in the county. And so we're about, with last year, we're about 30% of the roads and the current paved roads in the county have been resurfaced. Still 70% out there, obviously, that we haven't got to, and some of these roads haven't been touched in 50 years. So we're making a lot of progress, but we can't chase that 70% and ignore the 30%, especially some of it that we did 5 years ago, 6 years ago. So I would encourage you and Jason to get with EMC and let's come up with some options. Pavement preservation, surface treatment, or some other type of solution for some of these logging roads, and then the normal stuff. So anyway, that's all I got. Anybody got anything you want to add to that?
I'm good with it.
All right, I talk too much, I know. All right. So, gentlemen, next is a discussion and consideration of a lease agreement with the Hubson Historical Society for the Andrews Chapel School. This has been something that's been in the works for some time, and we've met with the Historical Society several times. They provided a draft lease agreement, and it was turned to Jason and to Mr. English to review, and with that.
So, Mr. Chairman, what you have is the revision based on the last comments from the board the last time it was on your agenda. So, and I'll let the attorney speak since we didn't huddle up right before the meeting, but as far as I know, as far as your appointed staff is concerned, it should be good to go unless you want further changes to it.
Okay. Mr. English?
That's more or less what I have to say about it. It basically incorporates what the Historical Society has requested, and the board had made a few changes at one of the meetings last year, and we incorporated that. From a legal perspective, there's no issue. It is a 20-year, if I'm not mistaken, agreement, but 20-year with a 90-day without cause termination of the agreement.
And so to kind of summarize, get back to what got us here is you know, we made a significant investment in the school out there to save that building, and use the Georgia Trust to help us with that. The building looks great. We're still maintaining the grounds.
We are.
What this is going to do, it's going to put it in the hands of a group of people who respect that property and are you know, vested in making sure that property is used, because you know, we don't want an empty building sitting out there and not being used. So that this, you know, that, so for programming and things like that, this will make it to where, and they do have the opportunity to raise money and make investments in this with some oversight, you know, to do some things, because there's some other things they'd like to see out there. There's no power in the building right now, so I think that's one of their first goals is to raise money and to get the power turned on out there. And, but it's going to require some rewiring in there. That's just one example. So it'll give them the opportunity to take some private investments and to allow for more people to go out there and enjoy that facility. So,
Mr. Chairman, and you just reminded me of one of the revisions. There was concern about defining minor renovation and repair. And I think what we did was just delegated that to the county manager to decide what that is. So rather than trying to write a page on what would be permissible and what not, I think we had come to the consensus you were just going to delegate that. So
gentlemen, you have this lease agreement for your consideration. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve this lease agreement as presented.
I have a motion to approve as presented. Is there a second?
I second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion. Ms. Jones?
Commissioner Wilder?
Yes.
Commissioner Watson?
Yes.
Commissioner Ellington?
Yes.
Chairman Allen?
Yes. Okay. Well, one of the fun things we get to do, because it shows that we're closed to chapter on another year, is election of vice chair for the Board of Commissioners for 2024. So at this point, Chair will entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that we, or I might nominate Commissioner Jones for vice chair.
Is there a second?
That's a second.
So I have a motion made, and seconded to nominate Commissioner Paul Jones for vice chair for the Board of Commissioners.
Don't miss a meeting.
Hearing no discussion, Ms. Jones.
Commissioner Wilder,
Yes.
Commissioner Watson,
Yes.
Commissioner Ellington.
Yes.
Chairman Allen.
Yes, don't miss a meeting. It was his turn anyway. It just worked out that way. We don't normally do that. It's an important job, and we don't take it lightly. Okay, so last item on the agenda is executive session. So we're not going to have any votes. We don't anticipate any kind of voting or any actions after that. So what we typically do is we'll go ahead and take care of comments before we go into executive session, so you don't have to wait around to watch us. And I promise you, we will not come back here after y'all all leave and vote. I promise. If we do, I'll call Dave. And you'll hear it on Fund 101. Okay, so with that, Mr. Tinsley.
Mr. Chairman, so two quick items. We did last week, earlier this week, we did close out the Civic Center renovation project. And I put more details as an attachment, but just as a summary, the total project was $493,836. The total cost was $447,998. So what we'll call project savings were $53,036. So now, full disclosure, we did have some water intrusion today at the racquetball court. So up through the ground. So members of parish, obviously, since we have them on site at our other. They were there trying to investigate what that was. We did add a little bit extra through a change order so they could help us address that. So that is obviously, and all this work is warranted. So, but they are aware of it, and we're trying to chase it down. So they're.
Well, it got tested today. So as far as that work, the work that was done on the roof and the coping and all the flashing and all that stuff up there, we didn't see any indication where water was coming in from the roof.
No.
Or coming in from the walls.
No.
Think of anything else? I mean, it's probably coming from
It's groundwater coming up.
So they took a close look at it. I hadn't had time to follow back up with them since our meetings this afternoon, but
Fix it by filling it in.
yeah, it obviously it sits very low in the building. And then and potentially more of an update from our attorney, but we did come across a deed of dedication for the Lincoln Park lift station. It was accepted by the county commission January of 1984. That was information that we did not have. So as a result of us noticing the housing authority that we were no longer going to maintain it unless they could produce documentation to the contrary that its maintenance was our responsibility. And I'm not the attorney, I'll let our attorney do the speaking, but from my standpoint, once I've read that dedication, the deed of dedication, it pretty clearly is, we own it, and we need to continue to maintain it.
where was this deed located?
Clerk's office.
When we looked, we didn't find it.
No, that wasn't, at the time, our paperwork here, we didn't have anything on it. I mean, this was going back to the 80s, so.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's in our file now, obviously, so I just wanted to update them. I know that's been the topic of several work sessions, and we had finally gotten to that point.
Well, I know there's a lot going on right now, but it's probably warrants another discussion at a work session or on our agenda here, plan going forward, because, so this was done in the 80s. We don't own a sewer system, Why would we be in the business of maintaining it, other than somebody said back in 1984 that we would?
It sounded like a good idea.
We might need to see if we can't work something out. Because, because we're not getting any M&O money for it. We're not funding it. I mean, we're eating it out of our water enterprise fund.
I think generally speaking, that's true. Yeah, no, it's not that we don't gain any revenue from but all we
It's
do
just
is
a
recover
pass
it.
through. So
Exactly,
if we have to,
yeah.
so as we look at the budget, then we need to figure out how are we accounting for the expense of maintaining
Yeah,
that.
and it does need some upgrades in the future.
Yeah, maintenance and repairs is definitely
I mean, I don't know if we can go out there and slap a meter on it and base a fee based on the amount. And so on. Anyway, subject for another debate, discussion another day. But thank you for.
And Mr. Chairman, one item I didn't include, only because it's recent information, our Swiftwater Rescue Team had a successful operation in Meriwether County today. And I've been on the phone with our EMA director about 5 times today, so I said, just, you can give me the details. I just know that we successfully rescued someone from an automobile from high water, and I don't know the other details. So.
Okay. And we did have the one road, only one road washed out, Martin Church Road. And we thinking, okay, it's going to be several days, water's got to go down. What's the?
We have a contractor on site, so they're going to start tomorrow.
Who's contractor?
Robinson. Oh, and I do want to, if I may, Mr. Chairman,
sir.
one other, not just for, because our road superintendent is here, but the work that James, his crew, our engineering crew, and Robinson did for our storm event, March last year, our team was able to get out to all those areas to observe how they're handling the 3 inches of rain we got in about an hour, close to that, and they all held up really well. So I think our road superintendent was pleased that they showed no signs of
$1 million
failure.
well spent? Not quite $1 million. But
Who test today?
it was stress test today.
On the road?
Okay. And as far as road closures this morning, I mean, you guys had to respond. I know the one on Daniel Road.
It caused the power company. We had to wait on the power company to get the trees out of the road.
That was the only one that we had?
No, we had about 18 trees in the road.
I was, yeah, okay.
And the one washout, but
Yeah. Well, again, you guys, like the water, you rise to the occasion. Thank you. To make sure you tell your team that. That it?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. English?
I don't have anything.
Mr. Wild?
I don't have anything, just welcome everybody back for the new year. Continue to stay safe.
Mr. Allen?
I asked staff to assist me with this. I had no idea, I guess since we updated the site, that your information's not available mine or your information's available on site. And I wouldn't have known that until she said that. That really needs to be fixed. I hadn't had an issue. People have been figuring out how to get a hold of me. But like her situation, she doesn't know who I am. She probably won't have any idea. So they need to have access to us to at least email. And like I said, I'm not opposed to my phone number being on there.
Well, I mean, with
I get calls all the time. A lot of people know where to find me. I see a few folks in the audience that know where to find me. But they come to my work. But that's fine. But I apologize. I had no idea. And I'm your representative.
I know you are.
For
that's
good
why I
or bad. Good or bad.
But thank you. I appreciate that. I'm sure.
And Mr. Chairman, if I may, when the citizen was speaking, I looked on our website and discovered the same thing. So,
Yeah, I kept mashing on it, I was going, well.
yeah, it doesn't take you anywhere.
And the phone system will transfer to, we all have individual mailboxes on the phone system as well, I believe. so.
And to finish up, it's not really publicized, but typically on a quarterly basis, I go out to the Thurston Community Club. I don't know.
To where, I'm sorry?
To the Thurston Fire Department, they got what's called Thurston Community
Yes, I
Club.
live right there at it.
And I typically go out there and speak
I
and,
wish I knew that, see,
and talk to people.
I'm aware
And,
of
you know,
that. I would like for it to be publicized, that's what I'm kind of asking for.
Right.
You know, we all need to help each other out.
right. And like I said, always welcome to come to any of our meetings, open meetings. And we don't have an opportunity to interact a lot because we're taking care of business. But all that being said is, I'll be happy to give you my phone number after the meeting.
Thank you. I just wanted to point out, not just only myself, but, you know, there's a majority of people that work outside the county. And,
Me too.
You know, therefore, emails maybe sometimes are a little bit more easier for them to use. And
Okay.
I was just kind of, you know, disturbed by that, because I was like, well, how are we supposed to, you know, contact you all?
Point taken.
Thank you.
That's all I got.
I don't have anything.
Okay. On that note, I'm your commissioner as well. You have two. You have two.
But I got
People
you.
tend to overlook that. I'm the commissioner as well, so.
I think I figured it out. You two showed up for the pictures and we.
So anyway, happy to anytime we get. And in light of that, I've said it, if there's any event you'd like a commissioner to attend, please reach out, let me know. You know, I'm always looking, if y'all ain't figured it out, you know, I'm not short on words. So you tell me where you want me and I'll do my best to be there. So, you know, we've had experience doing town halls. And our experience of that is, unless there's an issue that likes to draw a lot of people, one exception of that is the Crest community, because they feed there too, so they tend to get people there, so that's one. So yeah, we will come if you want us to talk, and if you're going to feed us, like over the senior center, we will come. So, but do appreciate you pointing all that out.
May I suggest y'all put some food preferences on there?
Anything. All right. I just point out, we do have a birthday coming up, the end of this year. I have a meeting on Thursday, if anybody'd like to help. It's just a preliminary planning meeting. The Historical Society's kicking it off. It's our bicentennial, November. The city's bicentennial is in April. So those of us that can remember 50 years ago when we did the sesquicentennial, it was done together, done in the springtime. So that's kind of the thought going forward with this. So we got a kickoff meeting Thursday, and I'll bring back and let you guys know. I mean, hopefully, you know, we'll get some good volunteers that'll make sure that the 200th birthday is as memorable as the 150th. And with that, I think that's it. With that, I'll entertain a motion to go into executive session for real estate.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Let's say.
Second motion. Can I see you before we go back?
That's right. Can you be sure that?
What's the total on the civic center fund?
Oh,
Thank you.
December.
On the 493, you say 53,000 gallons.
Yeah, man. I mean, I look at some of my numbers every day.
Stealing land.
493.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, I appreciate it. And I may call you, I did write down. Once a month, every third Thursday.
You want me to round it? So the total project budget was $494.
Let us know, I mean, I'm literally right there.
Right, and it's just.
The actual cost was $441.
Really live right in that area.
Watch what I'm
You
saying, I'm not
saved
there.
53,000.
Correct.
Right, so I think they interact with them.
What's the terms on the leasing for the
Supported
stuff?
them because, I mean, obviously, right there.
They're gonna get it for 20 years.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.